How to flip virtual real estate. Flipping physical real estate, unfortunately, has been presented as a quick and easy thing to do. Thank you, TV shows and unscrupulous content creators. If you've never done it before, here's two main things to know when you're starting. First, there's many risks. Second, it's a lot of work. But what about virtual real estate? Is it easier? Is it less risky? Let's dive into what's similar and what's different. Welcome to VRE News, Education, Tips and Reviews about virtual real estate. This is not financial advice. You can find a link to the written version of this article in the description of the video below. So first, what is flipping? In many cases, flipping a house is considered as buying a house, improving it, and then selling it for a profit. But we'll try to bring a broader approach here. Let's consider that flipping is the idea of buying to sell for a profit in a short time. Then the question becomes, how can I improve the value of my property in a short time? Here are four very simple ways to do just that. First, time the market. That's the most risky solution because you're just betting on the prices going up. It could, but it can also go down. Nobody knows. If you're very fast, you can nevertheless find a project at the beginning of its rising phase with everyone buying for growing prices. It could be a situation where there's room for a quick profit, but it can also crash or stop just before you sell your assets. And the longer you wait, the most likely it becomes for the market to change. If you want to flip, you don't want to be the last person willing to buy at this price. So, always have a backup plan in mind. Second way to flip is to improve it. That's the traditional approach. You can buy, for example, a land or a land with an estate on it, and then build or improve the estate and then sell it back. In virtual real estate, it takes either talent as a creator or money to pay one. Third way to flip virtual property is to find a motivated seller, someone who needs the money. Remember, real estate and even virtual real estate is not very liquid, and sometimes people just need the money. It's a chance to buy under the market and then sell for a profit at market price, for example. Fourth way is to negotiate by buying multiple properties, for example, from just one seller, or just by making an offer with the intention of buying right now. Maybe you'll find a motivated seller. There again, it's a great way to buy low. Negotiations is a very great way to buy low. Now that we've covered what is flipping, then how to start? How do you start? First, of course, line up the cash. How much do you have? This will allow you to know your market. The more you have, the more opportunities you'll find. Once you have an idea of your purchasing power, take time to find a good project for you. What are the ways you can flip those properties? You can classify them into different categories and pick one category you're most comfortable with. Then in the category or in the categories you're comfortable with, try to identify for each project the market conditions. Is it going up, down? What are the next changes and how can they influence the market? Remember, it's always a bet and you can always be wrong. Comparisons and experience only serve as mitigations for the risks. Then ask yourself, what's your timeline? Can your project be done in your timeline? Then set up a business plan for your operation. First, of course, find your costs and try to fix a selling point. What's your margin? A common rule in real estate is that you shouldn't pay more than 70% of your selling point if you're making improvements. But it's different if you're not making any improvements. Never forget the transactions costs. In virtual real estate, it's the gas fees, the creator fees if there is some, the marketplace fees, the conversion fees. Then ask yourself, what's your risks? You can see just sometime after this, we'll cover this in the next chapter. And find a worst case scenario. If you're okay with your realistic case scenario, don't forget to check that you can survive the worst case one. Then, of course, execute every steps from buying to selling. We've talked about it. What are the risks involved? And just before talking about the risks, if you've liked the video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe. So the risks. We'll talk here about 5 risks. First one is the market risks. Your property can stop getting value, or can even lose value between the time you buy it and the time you want to sell it. It can happen if new properties hit the market, if the underlying project fails, if people aren't interested anymore in the project, maybe because of an exploit or just because it's not really well made as a project, etc. Then there's the liquidity risk. It may take some time for you to sell your property. If you need the money quickly, it might create financial difficulties for you. Third risk, the opportunity cost. Putting your money in one project means you won't be able to put it elsewhere. It seems simple, but it's a good idea to keep this in mind. You may find that another project would have given you a better ROI, or that you could have made more by waiting a bit more to buy or to sell. This is more of a psychological and strategic costs. Then there's the time cost. It takes time to prepare and execute well. Is your return on investment really worth the time you've spent? And then, fifth risk, it's impatience. Jumping for the offer of a lifetime without having done proper researches on the project is one key risk in flipping houses. Just don't be that person. And you? Have you already tried this way of investing? Are you interested to find more about it? In our Discord, you'll find a community of people talking about virtual real estate investment.